What is going on? Welcome to ednews.com. It's your host, EJ Carrion, and today we're going to talk about a new story that came out in the Financial Times, and I think it's a good piece to add to the conversation around student loan forgiveness. And what is this conversation about, and why is it important to discuss? And so recently in the Financial Times, there was discussion about the impact of student loans on the economic prosperity of Black Americans. And so there's a couple graphs I just think it was really important to share and kind of dissect as we continue this conversation on this channel. You know, our goal here at Ed News is to be a place where leaders, thinkers of around how do we improve education, see all the ins and outs of challenges around higher education, public schools, and how do we build prosper schools, and how do we learn from people who are showing success in different ways, and also understand and empathize with just the situation as a whole, and try to keep politics out of the situation. So let's go ahead and dive into this Financial Times article. What you're going to see here is the title is Race and Finance, the Student Loan Trap. So what I want to kind of dive in is we're going to go ahead and zoom in so you can kind of see where I'm at. And we're going to go ahead and dive into the first kind of piece here that I think is kind of the meat of the story. And that is that Black borrowers at the median still own almost all of their debt 20 years after starting college. Not only do they owe more, they also have still at the end more debt to owed after 20 years. They really don't hit their principal. And you know, a lot of that has to do with also the blankets and the safety nets that most Black Americans don't have access to you know, their white counterparts often who go to school. Now, the other piece here that I wanted to kind of dive into is why it's already when you really think of this at scale and generationally, what you got to look at here is that, you know, according to a study published this year, and this is what to me was the freshest content, Social Currents, a journal called Social Currents, the median U.S. Black household with student debt held only 5 cents of wealth in 2019 for every dollar of wealth in the median white household with student debt, a wider disparity that has than existed ever in the country. Now, it kind of follows up with another stat kind of talking about this in bigger numbers. In 2019, the median white household had $188,000 of wealth, nearly 8 times more than the median Black household of $24,000. And this was from the Brookings Institute. So think about this kind of challenge, right? I think the point of this is yes, you could say it's an investment to take out student loans for your education. But when you're in an environment that's 5 times less available to support, or you end up having to support, it really creates the dynamic of the cost to pay to play, right? So let's say, you know, if you're an average white family in the medium household of $188,000, there's a little more availability, support, co-signing ability or assistance, where you know, $24,000 household income is just a different story, and you're going to feel that in so many different action steps along the way. I think about it from, you know, I remember being a first generation college student, having friends being able to afford, you know, their parents taking them on spring break, where you usually have to work, right? And I think that's something that a lot of first generation college students can think of. Another thing, though, too, is, you know, I've seen friends who was able to have their parents, you know, kind of give them the loan or pay the loan and have real low interest. And really, they're just paying principal back to their parents for paying for school. I've seen that, too, which is crazy. But anyways, moving a little further, what I thought was interesting here is on this graph, Black students hold more debt relative to white and Hispanic students. So I thought that was, you know, you're looking at $30K in 2020 to a little under $18K for Hispanic. I think that's interesting, and I wonder how that goes moving forward when I look at the growth of the Hispanic population. The average Black American is 27 years old. The average Hispanic American is 11. So I'm interested to see how this goes as the country continues to mature. Final thing that I wanted to hit, last part, and I don't think what I'm going to share is anything, I didn't think it was groundbreaking in the article, but I think it's important, is when you look at the overall support, the Federal Reserve in St. Louis, they talked about how, there it is. Based on nearly a quarter a century of data, the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis found in a 2017 study that white college graduates were more likely to receive financial assistance from their parents in paying for their education or buying homes, while black college graduates were more likely to provide money to their parents. So think about that, right? Like, I think what we just talked about, it's like this vicious cycle of, you go pay to play to go to college, but then once you start making money, the responsibility to actually help your family weighs in the ability to actually get ahead and start building a nest of wealth. And that, to me, is, I think, what's a lot of this conversation is around student loans. So I'm going to have this article in the description. Hopefully it was helpful. I'm really interested to know your thoughts and comments, as I know this is a tough conversation of, like, what do we need to do in order to support the prosperity of all Americans, and the big chain on a lot of families is their college debt. So thank you for watching Ed News, and looking forward to hearing what you have to say.